Hi, this is Federal Criminal Defense Attorney John Teakell, and I'd like to talk about money laundering for just a bit. A lot of people hear the term money laundering and they wonder, what really is that? What does it really mean? Money laundering is traditionally, and it still is, either taking or laundering tainted funds, that is monies received illegally, and trying to hide it, that is hide the source, to make it look like that they have legitimate business or legitimate money's legitimate use, instead of something that came from an illegal source. Secondly, it's just taking tainted monies, illegally obtained monies, and making any financial transaction or any transaction from tainted monies. Usually the second one is easiest for the government to prove. Now, people hear money laundering and they often associate it with drugs or drug trafficking. And that's very true. In many federal indictments where you have drug trafficking allegations, you'll also find a money laundering charge as well, because often there'll either be a transfer of cash or a transfer of large amounts of money in some form. Money laundering has been held to be that, money laundering, if you simply take a large sack or suitcase full of cash and just hand it to someone. It could be that simple. It could be transferring lots of assets that were obtained by illegally obtained monies, tainted monies, or transfers of many monies through different bank accounts to try to hide the source. And aside from drug trafficking, money laundering can be associated with and used with and charged from a fraud allegation. If there's a white-collar crime, a fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud, anything like that, often money laundering can be charged because, again, all the prosecutor has to prove is that there was some transaction from monies that were deemed to be illegally obtained. Now, where some people get caught up in a money laundering investigation is when they're not aware that the funds that they're working with or someone's having them work with are tainted, as it's called in federal court. That is, they're not aware that the monies came from an illegal source, whether it's a drug trafficking activity or some fraud activity. An example would be if a real estate agent was buying property for someone who's laundering money, unbeknownst to the real estate agent, and then it comes out later that these were tainted funds. The question is then, did the real estate agent know that the funds were tainted at the time he was trying to buy property, trying to help these people launder money? Traditionally, you would have someone try to take illegally obtained monies and then buy a business to try to hide or launder what the funds are to make it look like they have a legitimate business, and it always was legitimate. And again, you see more commonly the allegations are just taking tainted monies and making a transaction. If you simply are trying to find a certain piece of property for someone, whether you're paid or not, you could be in a money laundering investigation if you did not know, or whether you knew or not, that the funds were tainted or illegally obtained. Another example of how some people get caught up in a money laundering investigation when they had no criminal intent is if there's any financial transaction that was made from tainted funds, whether it's transferring an asset, transferring money from one account to another, helping someone do something like that, they could be caught up in an investigation. If you know someone who's caught up in a money laundering investigation or a case, call me, John Teakell, and I'll be glad to help them with it. Thank you.